Your body may already be showing signs of diabetes, and you may not even realize it. That is what makes this condition so dangerous. In the early stages, the warning signs can feel small, random, and easy to explain away. You feel tired, so you blame stress. You get thirsty, so you think the weather is hot. You wake up at night to use the bathroom, and you tell yourself it is just part of getting older. But sometimes, those small changes are not random at all. Diabetes often develops quietly. It can progress in the background while your body is already struggling to manage blood sugar properly. And by the time many people finally get checked, the damage may already be affecting the heart, the kidneys, the eyes, or the nerves. So in this video, we are going to look at 7 early signs of diabetes that many people ignore. Some of them are obvious, some are surprisingly subtle, and one of them, especially the last one, is so common that most people never think of it as a warning sign. If any of these sound familiar, do not panic, but do pay attention, because catching diabetes early can make a major difference. Diabetes is not just about sugar. It is about what happens when your body can no longer handle glucose the way it should. Glucose is one of your body's main sources of energy. It is supposed to move from your blood into your cells, where it can be used as fuel. But when that system starts to fail, glucose builds up in the bloodstream instead of getting where it needs to go. And that is when problems begin. Over time, high blood sugar can damage blood vessels and nerves throughout the body. It can increase the risk of heart disease. It can strain the kidneys. It can affect your vision. It can slow healing. It can even cause permanent nerve damage if it goes untreated long enough. The hardest part is that many people do not feel sick in the beginning. There is no alarm bell, no dramatic warning, just little signals that seem harmless on their own. That is why early detection matters so much. When diabetes is found early, it can often be managed much more effectively. And in some cases, especially with type 2 diabetes, early lifestyle changes can help bring blood sugar back under control and even lead to remission. But when it is missed for too long, the condition becomes much harder to manage. So if you have been noticing changes in your body lately, this video is worth watching all the way through, because the signs we are about to cover are not always loud. In fact, some of the most important ones are the easiest to dismiss. Let's go through the 7 signs one by one. Some of these symptoms are things millions of people deal with every day without thinking twice. That is exactly why they get overlooked. A single sign by itself does not mean you have diabetes. But when several of these start showing up together, your body may be trying to tell you something important. And make sure you stay to the end, because sign number 7 is one of the most misunderstood warning signs of all. Most people never connect it to blood sugar problems, even though it can be a major clue. The first sign is frequent urination. This is often one of the earliest and most noticeable changes, especially when it starts happening more at night. You may find yourself using the bathroom far more often than usual, even if your routine has not changed that much. Here is why that happens. When there is too much sugar in the blood, the kidneys have to work harder to filter it out. Think of your kidneys like a cleaning system. Their job is to filter waste and keep the right balance of fluids in your body. But when blood sugar gets too high, that system starts getting overloaded. Your body then tries to get rid of the excess sugar through urine. And because sugar pulls water with it, you end up producing more urine than normal. So this is not just going to the bathroom more. It is your body trying to flush out something it cannot manage properly. For many people, this becomes most obvious at night. You may wake up once, then twice, then more often than you used to. At first, it seems minor. Maybe you drank too much water before bed. Maybe it is stress. Maybe it is age. But if it keeps happening, especially together with other symptoms, it is worth paying attention. And here is where it gets important. Frequent urination is not just inconvenient. It also leads directly into the second sign, because when your body is losing more fluid than usual, something else begins to happen. You start feeling thirsty all the time. Constant thirst is the second sign, and it often goes hand in hand with frequent urination. If your body is losing extra fluid by producing more urine, it makes sense that you would feel dehydrated. So your brain sends a message telling you to drink more. The problem is, if high blood sugar is the real cause, drinking more water does not fully solve it. You may feel better for a moment, but the cycle keeps repeating. That is why some people notice they are thirsty in a way that feels unusual, not just a little dry after exercise or on a hot day, but a deeper, more constant kind of thirst. You drink water and still feel like you need more. Your mouth feels dry. Your body feels like it cannot quite catch up. And because it seems so ordinary, many people never think of it as a warning sign. They may even feel proud of drinking more water, not realizing the reason behind it may be something more serious. If you are thirsty all the time and also using the bathroom more often, that combination should not be ignored. Now, you might expect that if there is extra sugar in the blood, you would feel more energized. But for many people, the opposite happens. And that brings us to sign number 3, unusual fatigue. This is one of the most common symptoms and also one of the easiest to brush aside because almost everyone feels tired at some point. Life is busy, sleep gets disrupted, stress adds up. So when people feel drained, diabetes is usually not the first thing they think about. But here is what most people do not realize. Glucose is supposed to fuel your cells. It is your body's energy source. But if insulin is not working properly, or your body is not responding to it the way it should, that glucose stays in the bloodstream instead of getting into the cells. So even though there is sugar in the blood, your cells are still not getting the energy they need. It is a little like having a full tank of gas, but the fuel never reaches the engine. That is why diabetes-related fatigue can feel different from normal tiredness. It may feel heavier, more persistent, harder to shake off. You rest, but you still feel low on energy. You sleep, but you wake up tired. Simple tasks may start feeling more exhausting than they should. And when this happens alongside constant thirst or frequent urination, the pattern becomes harder to ignore. Now here is where things get even more surprising, because the next sign affects something people do not usually connect to blood sugar at all: blurred vision. If your vision sometimes seems slightly out of focus, if words on a screen look less sharp, or if things seem blurry on and off, high blood sugar may be part of the reason. This happens because changes in blood sugar can affect fluid levels in different parts of the body, including the eyes. When glucose levels are too high, it can cause swelling and fluid shifts that temporarily change the shape of the lens inside the eye. And when that happens, your vision may become blurry. What makes this symptom tricky is that it can come and go. Some days your vision seems normal, other days it feels off. So many people assume they are just tired, looking at screens too much, or simply needing a stronger glasses prescription. But if blood sugar is the cause, the blur is not just about your eyes. It is a sign that your body is under strain. And over time, uncontrolled diabetes can do more than cause temporary changes. It can seriously damage the blood vessels in the eyes. That is why this symptom should never be dismissed, especially if it appears with other warning signs. So far, we have covered symptoms that are easy to explain away, but the next one adds a more serious layer, because it points to the body having trouble repairing itself. Slow healing wounds. If you notice that cuts, scrapes, or bruises seem to take longer than usual to heal, that can be another early clue. Normally, your body repairs damage through a coordinated process. Blood flow brings oxygen and nutrients to the area. The immune system helps prevent infection. New tissue forms and the skin gradually closes. But when blood sugar stays high, several parts of that process can be affected. Poor circulation can reduce the amount of oxygen and nutrients reaching the wound. At the same time, the immune response may not work as effectively as it should. That means healing can slow down, and the risk of infection can go up. This is especially important when it comes to the feet. Small cuts or blisters may seem minor at first, but if healing is delayed and sensation is reduced, problems can grow without being noticed right away. And that is what makes this sign so serious. It is not just about healing more slowly. It is about the body struggling to protect itself. If you are starting to see a pattern here, that is because diabetes does not affect only one part of the body. It can show up in different systems at the same time. And one of the clearest examples of that is sign number 6, tingling or numbness in the hands or feet. Some people describe it as pins and needles. Others say their feet feel strange, slightly numb, or less sensitive than usual. Sometimes it is mild and occasional. Sometimes it becomes more persistent over time. This can happen because high blood sugar can damage nerves, especially in the hands and feet. These nerves are often the first to be affected because they are long and delicate, and they rely on healthy blood flow and stable conditions to function properly. When that system starts breaking down, the signals between your nerves and your brain may become disrupted. That can create tingling, burning, numbness, or a strange sensation that is hard to describe. At first, it may not seem urgent. You might think you sat in one position too long. You might blame poor circulation. But if it keeps happening, or if the sensation becomes more frequent, it is something you should take seriously. Because once nerve damage progresses, it can become much harder to reverse. And now we come to sign number 7, the one many people overlook completely, even though it can be one of the clearest signals that something is wrong. Increased hunger. This one confuses a lot of people. You would think that if someone is eating enough, they should feel satisfied. But with diabetes, especially when blood sugar is not being used properly, the body can act as if it is starving, even when there is plenty of glucose in the blood. Here is why. Your cells need glucose for energy. But if insulin is not doing its job properly, that glucose cannot get into the cells efficiently. So the cells do not receive the fuel they need. And when the cells are not being fed, the body responds by sending stronger hunger signals. In other words, your bloodstream may have more than enough sugar, but your cells are still asking for energy. That is why some people feel hungry more often than usual, even after eating. Meals do not seem to satisfy them for long. They may crave more food, snack more often, or feel like their appetite has changed in a way that does not make sense. And this symptom is easy to misunderstand. People may think they are just stressed, eating out of habit, or going through a period of increased appetite. But when increased hunger shows up with fatigue, thirst, frequent urination, or blurred vision, it becomes a much more meaningful signal. This is also why sign number 7 is such an important reveal. It sounds common, it sounds harmless, but in the context of diabetes, it can tell you that the body is struggling at the most basic level, getting energy into the cells where it belongs. So let's quickly pull everything together. The 7 early signs we covered are frequent urination, constant thirst, unusual fatigue, blurred vision, slow healing wounds, tingling or numbness in the hands or feet, and increased hunger. On their own, any one of these might seem easy to explain. But when several of them start happening at the same time, your body may be sending a very real warning. And that is the key takeaway. Early signs are signals. They are not something to brush off, and they are not something to fear in silence either. They are your chance to notice a problem before it grows into something much more serious. Because diabetes often develops quietly, awareness matters. The earlier you recognize the pattern, the sooner you can take action. So what should you do next if some of these signs sound familiar? First, do not try to diagnose yourself based on symptoms alone. These signs can have other causes too. The goal is not to panic. The goal is to pay attention and get clarity. If you have been experiencing several of these symptoms, the smartest next step is to check your blood sugar and speak with a healthcare professional. A simple test can often tell you far more than guessing ever will. And even before any diagnosis, it helps to become more aware of your daily habits. Notice how often you feel thirsty. Pay attention to changes in your energy, hunger, or vision. Look at whether cuts are healing normally. Small patterns can reveal a lot. This is especially important if you have other risk factors like a family history of diabetes, being overweight, low physical activity, high blood pressure, or a history of prediabetes. The good news is that early action can make a huge difference. Better food choices, more movement, regular checkups, and proper medical guidance can help protect your long-term health. Now I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these signs in yourself or someone close to you? Which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you think more people need to hear this, share this video with someone who might be ignoring these symptoms without realizing what they could mean. If this video helped you spot the warning signs earlier, Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications for more clear, practical health videos like this. And if you want to take the next step, watch the next video on foods that help control blood sugar, because knowing the signs is important, but knowing what to do after that is where real change begins. Tap on the next video, and I'll see you there.